The next generation of consoles are looming on the horizon, but Microsoft has just announced that Halo Infinite is now delayed until 2021. That means as of right now, Microsoft has no first-party titles launching alongside the Xbox Series X. But what does that mean for the console war and for the Xbox in general? Here is what the GamesRadar team think.
I genuinely feel bad for Microsoft having to push Halo Infinite back to 2021. It's games industry 101 to make sure you have a system seller, a flagship title for a new console launch, and now the Xbox Series X won't have that, and that sucks. But at the same time, if it means that Halo Infinite can be the best game it can be when it eventually does release, and it gives 343 Industries the time it needs to do that, then it's absolutely the right call on Microsoft's part. And let's not forget, there's plenty of multi-platform titles still coming out to Xbox Series X when it launches this November, from Cyberpunk to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And if you're someone who wants to pay back the strides that Xbox has been making in terms of consumer-first policies like backwards compatibility and Xbox Game Pass, then I still don't see why it's not considered a good decision to buy an Xbox Series X on day one, even if Master Chief won't be there to help us out this November.
I think we can all agree that it's really disappointing to see Halo Infinite slip to 2021, but I don't really begrudge 343 Studios for the delay. I mean, we only need to look at recent history to see what happens when you try and rush something out, especially with the Halo Master Chief Collection, which had various issues at launch related to its online multiplayer. I think that sort of shows that, given the time to basically get something in the state you want it to be in is better than kind of ruining the first impression people might have of a game. Obviously, it puts the Xbox in the unenviable position of having to launch without its flagship game, but would it be worth launching with a game that isn't ready, or, offering up a chance to experience the next gen and then next year giving players the experience they want with Halo Infinite? It'll be fascinating to see how Microsoft handle the launch lineup later on in November.
I don't think the Halo Infinite delay will be a big deal in the grand scheme of things because it's a single game, but it does highlight an interesting position that Xbox Series X is in when it comes to launch, in that it doesn't have anything you can only get on Xbox. It's got Game Pass, which is great value. It's got backwards compatibility, which is also good. And it's got the cross-generational upgrade games that will move from Xbox One to Series X. Now, they're all good propositions. They're all valuable things, but the lack of sort of unique gameplay experiences, I think, will be difficult for people to sort of get their heads around, especially when the advertising hits, PS5 adverts and Xbox adverts. Now, whether Xbox is playing a longer game in terms of becoming a channel and a conduit to games rather than producing games, we'll have to wait and see if that's what they're going for. But I think launch is going to be a tough sell for a console that doesn't really have anything that only it can do, when it's going up against a console that has loads of experiences and games that you'll only get on that console, as well as all the other games. So I think the first few weeks of launch and the advertising is going to be the real sort of battle lines being drawn, and we'll see sort of what approach they're going to take.
Microsoft's duo of announcements last night really solidified the theory that Microsoft isn't treating this really like a next-gen console launch. Much like Apple and other smartphone manufacturers do with their annual release of new phones or a graphics card release, the Xbox Series X is merely an option. The real offering is Xbox Game Pass. It's a way to get into the Xbox ecosystem for an affordable price and still get that shiny next-gen feel if you want to, if you can afford it. We are in a pandemic and the UK is now in a recession after all. So I think Microsoft really needs to lean into the fact that the real offering is Xbox Game Pass, this amazing service that gets you tons of games across multiple platforms for a low monthly price.
Microsoft not having Halo for the Xbox Series X launch has to hurt. If not financially, then at least a little bit of pride. It'll be interesting to see how it affects sales and pre-orders too, and what it's basically done is opened the door for Sony to scoop up all those early adopters. Of course, the future probably is cloud gaming, and that's what Microsoft are banking on here, pulling you into that ecosystem so you just get Xbox Game Pass. The problem is we're in a world where people are still obsessed with having a nice shiny new box under their TV, and getting that Game Pass message across clearly and in an easy to understand way is going to be difficult when people just want that machine under their TV.